Today I'm going to show you 5 YouTube channels making full-time incomes that you can copy with Claude AI, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which ones fit your situation, what the format looks like, and the specific steps it's going to take you to set up your first video this week. Now, my name is Shane Hummus. I run a YouTube channel with over 1.5 million subscribers across my brands, and I've personally made over $10 million from YouTube. And my community clients have generated over $100 million in results using this exact playbook. So when I tell you that these 5 channel types are copyable, I'm not guessing. I have literally watched hundreds of my own community members do this. And the reason I'm making this video now is because the bottleneck to actually create these YouTube videos just got destroyed. Claude AI can do the heavy lifting that used to take you 10 to 15 hours per video in order to do, and that's only if you were good. And I am not making this stuff up. I built you a free Claude skill that does this for you. It's in the description and the pinned comment below, so you can go down there to check it out. You can grab it, and you can keep watching, and you can even use it as we go along and do this. All right, so the first channel type is Reddit story narration, and I call this the Translator play. Now, here's the deal. There's an entire category of YouTube channels that do nothing but read and dramatize Reddit posts. Stuff from r/am I the asshole, r/relationships, r/malicious compliance, r/pro revenge. They're dramatic, the chaotic, the unbelievable, and some of these channels have over 1 million subscribers, and some of them are posting a new video every single day. And one of those examples is this channel right here, Am I the Asshole Confessions. Now, this channel has about 31,000 subscribers. They've got about 500,000 views in the last 7 days, and they're making about $6,000 monthly. Now, that is all according to vidIQ. According to ViewStats, which is a different YouTube tool, they're making about $4,000 to $11,000 a month. But either way, it is a full-time income, and that's just from AdSense alone. Hey, quick break. I'm going to be doing a live training this week on how to start a YouTube channel step-by-step for beginners. This is going to be for people who want to start a channel, but they don't know what niche to pick, what videos to make, or how to actually get started the right way. And it's a completely free training, no strings attached. In fact, I'm giving away even more bonuses at the training. So just as an example, I'm going to be giving away my niche validator. This is going to be available both for ChatGPT as well as Claude, which is a super valuable piece of software where you can finally figure out what the best niche for you is. So do not miss out on this training. Make sure you sign up for it down in the description and the pinned comment below, because you only get it if you join the training. So if you don't join now, you might miss it. But that being said, in the workshop, you'll get to meet me, and you'll get to ask me questions directly. So I look forward to seeing you in there. So click the link in the description and the pinned comment below, put it in your calendar. And if for whatever reason you missed out on it or you weren't able to attend, make sure you still click that link, because we might be having workshops in the future as well, and you'll be the first to know about it. So yeah, hope to see you there. And now back to your regularly scheduled content. And this channel is literally just re-uploading some of the most famous posts on Reddit from the Am I the Asshole Confessions subreddit. And they've been doing it for about a year now. So this video right here, for instance, discovered my husband cheating with my sister, divorced him, and cut off toxic family. Very clearly AI generated voice. And all they do is they basically do gameplay footage in the background, and they change the words as they are talking about them.
Married to my husband, Ryan, 32 male, for 6 years. We have a really strong relationship, I would say.
Now, some of their newer videos aren't as obviously AI. There's better AI voices they're using, but they're still AI. Now, the whole trick in this niche is you need to make sure that the content is transformational. If the content is not transformational, they are going to ban your channel or they're going to demonetize your channel. So you absolutely have to make sure that the content is transformational. That is why they have the video game stuff in the background, and that is why they have the text that pops up on the screen. With that being said, if you want to be even safer, what you can do is just simply read the Reddit posts yourself. And there are some other Reddit channels that basically do that. Now, you might be thinking, oh, cool. I'll just paste a Reddit thread into Claude, hit generate, and then upload. Don't do that, right? That is how you make AI slop. That's how you get 47 views. That's how, if you do happen to get views, you get your account demonetized or banned, so you're not making money in the first place and you're basically just wasting your time, right? So don't do that. You want to make sure that you make the content transformational, and there's a huge difference between AI assisted content and AI generated content, right? So if it's AI generated, you're almost certainly going to get banned. But if it's AI assisted, you're going to be good to go. So to make sure the content is transformational. One way you can do that is don't just read the stuff word for word, actually add in more context and opinion on what's actually going on in the story. Now, again, if you want a Claude skill that can actually help you to replicate these videos, go ahead and download that by clicking the link in the description in the pinned comment below. Then you want to open Claude AI, you want to load the skill, and you want to basically find the viral Reddit post that you want to do, right? So am I the asshole or malicious compliance or gold mines? Just find a script and then paste the post into the skill along with your channel's tone. And then Claude is going to spit out a dramatized narration script. And here's the critical part. Make sure that you edit it and add your unique voice, right? So let's just say you have a very dry sense of humor. Make sure that your narration script also has a dry sense of humor. And then pick stories that fit your personality. And then run it through an AI voice tool like 11 Labs or just record it yourself. There's lots of different tools that will automatically transcribe the words that you're saying. I'll put a bunch of them up on the screen. You could technically have Claude do it as well. Descript is one of my favorite ones, just as an example. And then drop some simple visuals behind the narration. For instance, you could just record your computer screen as you're playing a video game and then drop those visuals behind it. And then you want to upload it, and the entire process can be done in under 2 hours per video. And once you really have the system and the process down, it can be done a lot faster than that. But the key here is make sure you add your own commentary and make sure that it's actually transformative. All right, section 2 is going to be book summary and expertise channels. I like to call this the juicer play. So these channels take entire books. We're talking 200, 300, 500 pages of content, and they condense them into a single 10 to 15 minute video. They pull out the key insights, the frameworks, the actionable advice, and the viewer gets the value of the book without having to read it. Now, one of the things I want to mention here is if you don't do this correctly, it's actually very easy to just get your channel demonetized or even banned. This is something I'm going to go over in the live training I'm doing this week. So click the link in the description in the pinned comment below to make sure you do it correctly in the live training. Literally 0 of my community members have ever gotten their accounts banned, but there are tons of people that have talked about getting their accounts banned on Twitter. So you want to make sure to avoid those common mistakes that get people banned. And it's honestly really easy to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of channels like Fight Mediocrity, 1% Better, Productivity Game, etc., and they've all built audiences in the millions doing exactly this. Here's another example of a channel, English Avenue. This channel's got about 600,000 views in the last 7 days. They upload about once per day, and they're making about $12,000 a month. And they really only started posting about a year ago. For instance, they posted this video, Don't Waste Your Life, Learn English Through Motivation. It got about 3.1 million views. And it is pretty clearly AI generated and an AI generated voice.
You are dying slowly, from the inside. Your comfort zone is killing your dreams silently.
Now, by the way, as a side note, you don't have to use an AI generated voice. You can use your own voice, and you can just make this same type of content because it's been proven with AI generated content. You can just make it with a personal brand instead. And that's what a lot of people actually do. So a lot of those examples of other people like Fight Mediocrity, etc., they do it on their own. Oh, and according to View Stats, they're making about $6,000 to $17,000 a month as well, and they're getting about 2.4 million views. And here's an analogy that explains why this niche prints money. A book summary channel is a juicer, right? A 300-page book is a giant pile of fruit. Most of it is pulp, water, fiber. It's useful in its raw form, but it's not what you actually want. Claude is the juicer. It squeezes the entire book down to the concentrated essence, right? The 10 minutes of insight that actually matters. And the viewer drinks the juice and they skip all the gathering and the chewing. And here's where this gets really interesting because you don't have to summarize other people's books. You can do an even better version of this play and you can pick something that you already do for a living and just teach it. So you can pick your career, make a YouTube channel about it. And this is one of the most common and underrated patterns that I've seen working over and over again. For instance, are you in real estate? Well, you can make videos teaching people how to break into real estate, just like Ken McElroy, Break Into CRE, and Chris Crone. Or let's just say you're a realtor, you have a local business. You can make videos about wherever you live and attract people to your business, like Ken who sold over $1 billion in real estate, and most of his deals come from YouTube. And he only has a 60,000 subscriber channel. Or maybe you're in IT. Well, I have a client who built a massive business doing exactly that. Like Josh Badicor, who we helped get to $186,000 in a single month. And he does this by helping people get into IT and cybersecurity jobs. Speaking of cybersecurity, maybe you're in cybersecurity and you're in a very specific career, like Nicole, who helps people get into GRC, or governance, risk, and compliance. And she made over $80,000 in a single month in this niche as well. So governance, risk, and compliance is a super boring, super specific cybersecurity career, but it pays really well. Or maybe you're in a very high-level finance career, like this guy right here, the financial controller, Bill. I helped him get to $70,000 in a single month. And he does it by teaching other people how to become financial controllers. And it's not just careers. You could also just teach people how to do a subject, like the organic chemistry tutor. He makes about $182,000 a month just from AdSense alone, teaching people how to do chemistry, science, etc. You could also teach people how to graduate from college faster professor like College Hack. They make multiple six figures a year doing that. Or you could teach people how to get into elite universities like Joaquin Ravello. When he started working with us, he was 18 years old and he had an $80,000 month as a teenager. And we joke that he was making more than the president of his university, which he was. Now you'll notice that some of these channels don't get nearly as many views. And that's because getting views is just one way to make money. That's making money from AdSense. But if you sell the right products and services from your channel, you can make a heck of a lot more than just AdSense alone. And by the way, I could go on and on. This is just a tiny little sample size of some of the clients we've gotten results for. But I think you get the point. Basically, just figure out how to get good at some subject. A lot of it is kind of boring, career related. It could also just be like how to use some kind of software or something like that. Something that a lot of people would consider boring, but it's something that you are good at. And then just teach other people how to do it. But I think you get the point here. This is something that you can actually do it and do easily. And that is where Claude AI changes the game, because before this might have taken you way too much time to do realistically, but because you don't need to spend hours writing every script, you can feed Claude your career, your topic, your audience, give it a little yap session, which is what I like to call where you just talk off the top of your head for about 5 minutes, and it will write the structure for you. You add the expertise, the tone, the personality, and the voice, but Claude does all the heavy lifting for you, and that is the cheat code. Now, here's how to start. Now, obviously, if you have expertise, just add that to this, but let's just assume you have no expertise and you have to borrow other people's expertise, and in that case, you're gonna do the book summaries. What you wanna do is you wanna grab the free Claude skill, the link's in the description in the pinned comment below. You wanna open Claude AI and load it up. Then you wanna decide, are you summarizing books or are you teaching your career, right? Because both work. And again, it could be a career, it could be some sort of skill you have, et cetera, et cetera. Then step 2, pick your first topic, a popular book or a question that someone in your industry would ask. Then step 3, feed Claude the topic, your audience, and your channel's voice. And I recommend doing a 5-minute yap session, just giving your hot takes or opinions on the topic. And you can even ask it to interview you and go back and forth if you want to spend a bit more time. Then step 4, Claude outputs a script with the top 5 to 7 insights structured as a video. And step 5, record narration. And step 6, slap simple visual or slide style graphics behind it, and then upload it and you're done. All right, next is going to be what I like to call the documentary producer play, which is also history storytelling. So history channels, especially the Faceless ones, take fascinating events from the past and turn them into narrated stories. And the audience for history content is massive and it never runs out. So there's literally thousands of years of material to cover. There's new angles every single day. There's endless content. And if you don't believe me, just check out this video right here. How did the fall of Constantinople affect LeBron's legacy? Or how about this one? Which dinosaurs would have been best for ancient warfare? I think you get the point. You are literally never gonna run out of topics here. So let me give you an example that's gonna convince you immediately. Simon Whistler. This guy owns about 5 million different channels on YouTube. It's actually absurd how many different channels he owns. This one here makes about $4,000 a month. This one here makes $1,900 a month. This one here makes $2,400 a month, $3,400 a month, and $1,400 a month. And all of that is just from AdSense alone. Now, if he's monetizing even remotely close to effectively, he is making far, far more than what he's making from AdSense alone. Likely at least 10 times more, but more likely 30 to 100 times more. And he posts something insane like 30 videos a week across his network. Now think about that for a second. There is a 0% chance that he's writing all those scripts himself, right? No human being can write 30 long form videos a week. It's just not possible. So he has a team of writers and he runs the operation, narrates the scripts, and his team handles the research and the writing. And that's a multi-million-dollar business. Now, here's the question that should be lighting up your brain right now. What if you could do that without the team of writers? What if Claude AI was your writing team? That's the play. And here's the analogy. A history YouTuber is essentially a documentary producer. You could consider them very simple documentaries, but they basically are documentaries because you are documenting stuff that's happening. And the producer never went to ancient Rome. They never met Napoleon. They never witnessed the fall of the Roman Empire, but their entire job is to research, structure, and create narration. So they sit at the desk, they read resources, they write a script, and they hire a narrator, or they just narrate it themselves. And that is the whole business. Claude is now your research and writing department completely free. So here's how to start. Obviously, grab the free Claude skill. I feel like a broken record saying that, but definitely grab it because we worked really hard on it and it's great. And I'd recommend going for the lesser known stuff because well-known events have a ton of competition, but feed Claude the event, your audience, and the tone that you want. So mysterious, dramatic, educational, pick one. Again, the yap session helps a lot here as well because the more yap sessions you do, the more it knows how you speak and how you basically like to write things, and what your personality is, etc. And then Claude can output a Simon Whistler style narrative script. And you can record the narration with stock footage, period imagery, or AI generated visuals behind it. Then you upload and you can produce one of these in a single afternoon. Next is business case study channel. Now I call this one the Campfire Storyteller play. because these channels tell business stories. For instance, how companies got rich, how empires fell, how disruptors broke entire industries, or how one bad decision destroyed a multi-billion-dollar brand. Humans love rise and fall stories. It is the oldest narrative format on earth. So channels like Magnates Media, Logically Answered, Modern NBA, Business Casual, and Newsthink, they've all built massive audiences telling business stories with dramatic structure. Logically Answered, just as an example, makes about $8,000 a month, and that's just from AdSense alone. Again, if they're properly monetizing, they are making a lot more than that, especially for business-related content. And here's the analogy, right? A business case study channel is kind of like a storyteller around a campfire. Cavemen sat around fires telling rise and fall stories, empires rising, heroes falling, villains getting their comeuppance, etc., etc. The format hasn't changed in 10,000 years. Only the characters change. Today, kings are CEOs, empires are companies, the dragons are competitors, and instead of sitting around a campfire, we're all sitting in front of screens. But the dramatic structure has stayed about the same this entire time. And Claude knows how to structure these stories better than 99% of YouTubers because, frankly, the rise and fall is the most told story type in human history. So Claude has seen millions of versions of it. And here's where it really gets fun. You do not need to limit yourself to famous companies. You can tell the story of niche companies that nobody else is covering. You can tell the story of why a specific product flopped, and you can tell the story of a CEO who turned things around. The well never runs dry. And there are millions of companies in the world, and each one has a story. So here's how to start a business case study channel. Grab the free Claude skill, like I said before, in the description of the pinned comment. Feed Claude the company name, the time frame you want to cover, and the tone. Dramatic, analytical, cautionary, etc. Then give it a quick yap session on your opinion on the entire topic. It's always good to do that just so you can infuse your own opinion and your own voice into it. And then Claude will output a case study script with a hook, escalation, climax, and lesson. Record the narration, and then use branded imagery, news footage stand-ins, or AI-generated company visuals behind it, and then upload it. And then finally is channel type number 5, and that is top 10 or listicle style channels. And I call this the buffet play. These channels list things. Top 10 weirdest, top 5 scariest, biggest, worst, best, most surprising, most unexpected, most ridiculous, etc., etc. They are one of the most rewatchable formats on YouTube because the viewer can dip in for 30 seconds or stay for the full video. And channels like Be Amazed, Top 5s, Origins Explained, or my personal favorite, Watch Mojo, have been doing this forever. Many of them are posting daily, some are getting tens of millions of views per video, and here's the analogy that explains why this format never dies. A listicle channel is like a buffet. You don't have to commit to one big meal. You can take small portions of lots of different things. They're also very low commitment. If you don't like salmon, you skip it and you go to the pasta. If one item in the list bores you, the next one's gonna be 60 seconds away. Your brain stays engaged because the format is inherently rewarding. Every minute, you get a new payoff. And this is probably the easiest one of these 5 channel types to start because the format itself is so structured. You're not telling a deep narrative, you're not summarizing a 300-page book, you're just curating 10 interesting things and explaining each one for 60 to 90 seconds. And Claude can generate the entire list and the script in a single prompt. But here's the catch. The bar to stand out in listicles is higher than ever because there are millions of these channels, which is why your niche, your topic selection, your voice, and your visuals matter more in this category than in many of the others. So here's how to get started. Grab the free Claude skill, open Claude AI, load the skill, pick a list of topics, weirdest X, scariest Y, biggest C, etc., etc. Tell Claude your target list count, usually 10, but 5, 7, or 15 also work. And pro tip here, if you're making a top 10, actually do a top 15, and then if there's 5 that you don't like, you can just skip them. Then feed it your audience and your tone, educational, comedic, dramatic, and give it a yap session. And Claude will output the full list and a script for each entry. And usually it'll be about 100 to 200 words for each one of the pieces on the listicle. And then you record the narration with simple visuals or stock footage for each entry and you upload. Now, of course, this can work faceless, or you can actually just show your face. And the secret here is a lot of channels are actually secretly listicle channels, and they don't even admit it and they don't even show it. But if you think about it, just about every type of content out there is a listicle. Books are listicles because they're chapters. Even movies are listicles. Movies typically operate on a 12-act structure. That's a list. And so whether you actually realize it or not, most things are actually listicle. But that's a topic for another video that I could go into in extreme detail. With that being said, you probably are curious what niche that you should pick because you could do all of these different formats, but there's a lot of different niches out there. That is something I'm going to help you out with in the live training this week. Click that link in the description in the pinned comment below. Additionally, 99% of people watching this are never going to work with us one-on-one. one. With that being said, we are opening up 3 to 5 spots this week for people who are very serious about growing and making money on YouTube to work with us directly one-on-one, either us doing the work for you or us coaching you very closely. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click that link in the description in the pinned comment as well. You can also check out my client Davis, who does career-related stuff like I talked about before. He actually helps people get management consulting jobs, and you can check out an interview that I did with him by clicking right here. Spoiler alert, we helped him make a lot of money.